first topic that 3 people have wanted us to speak about. This is you know what? How do I start this off? I don't want to say this is the last time we're going to talk about this, but this is going to be one of the last times that we specifically talk about this Jay-Z God Did verse. People are talking about, well, we gotten a whole bunch of links coming to us from MSNBC. I think Ari, what's his name? Ari Melber. He did a piece on the God Did verse, breaking it down bar for bar. It's like a 16-minute soliloquy on MSNBC. You know, they spent good old-fashioned cable news network television time breaking down some of the intricacies of the verse. A lot of reaching going on in there, if in my estimation, but you know what this feels like to me? It feels like, and Jay got on, I don't know if you heard the Twitter space that Jay just got on recently.
I didn't listen.
Well, Jay just got on the Twitter space talking about how he put the verse together, when he got the beat. He did say that Young Guru was exaggerating when he said that Jay did it in one take or whatever. And, you know, one thing Jay said about Khaled, too, about these Khaled projects, he said, it's like the all-star game, man, you know, and these projects ain't easy to put together because, you know, you got all of these egos and this and that. I'm like, what egos? People mail in their songs. Khaled's not even producing the songs. I mean, let's be real, man. People are they're putting together producers, get a record for Khaled, and send the shit in. I'm starting to think that the record labels are requiring their artists to give Khaled a song. Anyway. Anyway, I don't want to sound like a hater, whatever. So, yes.
You sound more conspiracy theorist than hater right now.
Well, yeah, it just feels that way. This is what I want to see. And I'll shut up. I'll shut all the way up. I want to see DJ Khaled produce an album end to end where shit says produced by DJ Khaled on every song. We said that about Dre, right? I want to see a DJ Khaled produced album end to end. No other producers on any other songs. I looked through his catalog. There are very, very few songs where it's just him producing. I don't know what his production style sounds like. They say he's a producer, right?
That is affirmative.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to hear a project. I don't care what artist it is. Get behind that artist. It should be a Miami artist, honestly, and you produce everything from end to end. Is that too much to ask for somebody who is credited as being a producer or a DJ? Or, I mean, because I know he doesn't really DJ like that.
I mean, apparently so.
Mad Max says, Rap Roundtable had a dope live yesterday and said Nas got 6 chips, 2 MVPs, and a gold medal. I think it's a great way to qualify MC greatness. Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
6 championships is awesome. 2 MVPs, I can see where they got that from. Yeah, I think that's a good way of breaking things down. What would be Jay-Z's MVP year?
I was about to say, I mean, when you're saying MVP year, I mean, that's what I'm saying, because it's like, I mean, who's MVP in 94? And who's MVP in 96? And who's the MVP last year? Because those would be probably his MVP.
Well, I'm going to answer those. I think 94 would probably be Biggie as the MVP. Right?
Is that a championship for Nas, though? Is that what they're saying? Illmatic is the championship and Biggie's overall performance is the MVP? I don't know what the qualifiers
That's
are.
That's hard to qualify right there, because are we qualifying sales? We're qualifying impact. And if you're qualifying impact, why doesn't he get the MVP there?
The criteria set up is fascinating. We just don't know what their metrics are. So
Right. This is what I will say. I think that if we want to talk about Jay-Z's MVP seasons, I'm going to go 2001. Everything else is debatable. What other year would you say?
When did the Black Album come out?
That's 50 Cent. Sorry.
Was that Get Rich or Die Trying?
Yeah, that's 50 Cent.
Yeah, that's 50.
Yeah.
No, that's 50. That's like when Moses Malone averaged like 30 and like 16 that year, something stupid. But like Kareem and Magic and Bird were all in their prime, but like Moses was like, yeah, I'm in my prime too, and just it's one of those.
98, that's DMX.
98 is X. Yeah.
Jay Short with Super Chat says Beyonce album disappointed. Jay must make an album. Michael Sanders with the Super Chat says DJ Khaled is what you call smoke and mirrors, a fake.
You know, here's what crossed my mind. All jokes aside,
prove us wrong, Khaled.
Here's what crossed my mind when you sent me the MSNBC link.
Mm-hmm.
I was always taught as a black man in this nation to be very, very mindful when white people praise black people and who they put in front of you consistently. Because the people who white people in the white dominant media here tend to praise and put in front of you, it's probably not who you should be following. Correct me if I'm wrong. Historically speaking, if I'm inaccurate, please show me the inaccuracy or the iniquity in the manner in which I'm kind of like divulging this. So just the fact.
Well, you know what? When it's funny, my mind went there too, but my mind automatically goes there. And we're talking about mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't even going to go there, but I completely agree. I mean, that was the first thing I thought. It's like, okay, well, this is becoming too much, especially from somebody who has so much great material to pull from. You know what I mean? Lyrically. He's a poet. He's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He has bars on bars on bars, and he didn't tell us anything different here. You know, you got Complex out here doing a countdown of the best Jay-Z verses because of this.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's happening, though, is that, people outside of the hip-hop sphere that used to be connected to hip-hop because of guys like Jay-Z and Eminem, they're not connected to hip-hop right now because hip-hop really is in the streets right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't know what's going on, really.
Right.
So this is getting more hype and pub it deserves because, quite frankly, the people that are in Jay-Z's age and demographic are who's responsible for our news media cycle. They grew up listening to Jay, and he was the biggest star. So for this portion of white America that is now dominating the media news cycle, it's like, well, they were the ones that were white kids that really weren't acquainted to rap when Can I Get It and Hard Knock Life came out and were in high school with us or middle school with us or college. And so for them, when he does something, that's their conduit back into this sphere again. And that's what I mean about always auditing who we crown when we crown them carefully, because this is one of those things where it comes back to bite us. The fact that people are still trying to say that Jay-Z's year was 98 when DMX did what he did. You feel what I'm saying? Like if you just go look at the numbers, it's not even a conversation. If you actually go listen to the music, it's not a conversation. But we have the conversation because of the perception. And then the perception turns into reality years later.
You know what this feels like to me, though? I mean, I agree with everything you said. It feels like all of this coverage of this actual verse and the length of the verse and, everybody going in depth with this verse, it's so that Jay-Z doesn't have to put out an album to prove he's still the greatest. Because the other guy that he's matched up with is putting out albums at a rate that, we haven't seen him ever put out, especially on a quality level, too. And, I know people think that folks like Jay-Z, Beyonce live on in a whole separate universe and don't hear anything that's going on. But the truth of the matter is, Jay's a hip-hop head. He understands what's going on. He heard Magic. He heard KD2. He's heard KD1. He's impressed as a hip-hop fan himself, and he knows that ultimately that whole longevity argument, when it comes to matching these two guys up, can't be used as much anymore. And I think that this verse, not only the length of it and how hard he went, because he's never had to rap this long, but everything that people are throwing on top of it, it seems like a whole media onslaught so that we won't be asking for a new Jay-Z album. This is enough. We know he's still the greatest because of this verse alone.
Well, what I would submit to people that say that, it's like, okay, if you can explain to me how Peyton Manning at this point is better than Tom Brady, then you can probably explain how Jay-Z is better than Nas, because that's really what's going on.
That's exactly what's going on.
It's like, for all of those people that said Peyton Manning, even if you felt it was viable and he had done just enough when he walked away or stepped away from his prime, And I mean, and what's that? I mean, that was two in Super Bowls. I think he went to 4 Super Bowls, two in Super Bowls,
Mm-hmm.
4 MVPs, which means 4 first-team All-Pros because only one quarterback's making first-team All-Pro. I mean, and then you look at it now, it's like, well, Brady has more passing yards. He has more touchdowns. When you left, you still had 2 less rings than him.
Yeah.
When you left, he's gotten 3 more rings since you've been gone.
And for the
3,
and for the
and
system,
another MVP.
for the system people argument, this man went to Tampa Bay first year and won a championship. At that point, you can't say anything. And like I've said on this show before, Tampa Bay for Nas is magic.
Well, also
Dropping
too,
Magic in the same year that you dropped KD2, or honestly, KD2 and Magic is Brady going to Tampa Bay winning a Super Bowl championship. The argument's over until, further notice, pretty much.
Well, also too, here's also how you need to understand it and look at it too. So, Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVPs. Peyton Manning has 4 MVPs. Do you know who finished in second place 6 of those 8 times in those MVP seasons?
Right.
So this guy has 3 MVPs and literally was a step away from winning MVP from you guys specifically on 6 different occasions. Nobody's made second team All-Pro quarterback more than Tom Brady. And the only people to make first team more is literally Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning. He's tied with Brett Favre with 3 MVPs. But by no metric, by no measure of the eye. And so it's the same thing going on here. You have no real measure or metric of the eye to give me at this point. And if a 4-minute verse is like the best that you got in the past 10 years, and I can just give you like what Nas has done the last 24 months, it's like, eh.
And the thing is, we want to talk about the coverage. I think it's troubling that half of this coverage of this individual verse wasn't put on Magic. So this ain't about the music. This is about something else. Even when I think it was Ebony Magazine did that cover of Nas or whatever, and this was for KD2.
Mm-hmm.
None of these publications, none of these news outlets were like, yo, not only did he drop KD2, 2021, 27 years into his career, he also dropped Magic on Christmas Eve. Like, if you're not going to be holding that high and talking about that 24/7, I don't want to hear all of this hoopla over this verse that's on DJ Khaled, because in my opinion and in my estimation, this comes across as marketing. This isn't true. I'm a hip hop fan, because what you said, you're right. A lot of these people are of that generation, but guess who else they were listening to as well? They're in that age bracket where they know Nas. They were silent when Magic came out. This ain't about the verse. This is about
They're
something else.
not connected anymore, but because of how things went with Jay-Z, the mass public, as in the cross-marketing public sector, sided with Jay-Z because he was more affable, personable, and the rhetoric, quite frankly, was a little, it's not as pro-black. Let's just leave it like that. You know what I mean? The rhetoric is not as pro-black and thereby more digestible for the non-black crowd and populace. You know what I mean? And so what happens is that Jay-Z remains in that mind of that sphere of their youth. And Nas is just a guy that was vying for Jay-Z's crown, really, at the end of the day, for the non-black populace. They're not familiar. They're not connected. They didn't stay connected to Nas long enough to understand or know hip-hop well enough to understand what he's even doing right now and how groundbreaking it is, because their reference point is fucking Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. That's not a good reference point.
I would gripe with you for one thing, because it's like, it feels like...
Hold on, Mike, let me finish this. And if Eminem is the reference point, it's even way worse than Volume 2.
That doesn't even count. You don't even know what you're talking about at that point.
Well, that's where most of these people are coming from, is the Slim Shady LP and Hard Knock Life.
Well, this is my thing, though, Coop. I feel like everybody was fine when it looked like Nas was done, and they would hold Illmatic high, and they would talk about Illmatic and how it shaped hip-hop, this, and this. But when this man comes with some quality, dope-ass album of the year level stuff at 27 years in his career, it's silence. It's like, you guys want to hold up somebody when you think they're done. You know what I mean? Mad Max says, They gave Nas a unanimous MVP for 94, and then the Chip, they gave Nas another MVP for 2002. Jay, I would say, would have an MVP in the summer of '01. I think we all can say '01 when it comes to Jay, but I think that's really his only MVP season. Is that fair?
I think that's debatable.
That is debatable. I would give it to him because of the whole year, and Stillmatic didn't come into the end of the year.
You're right, because that's December too. Because I didn't hear Ether till December.
Yeah. So that came at the end of the year. Ether dropped on Jay's birthday, December 4th. So, I know people are calling us the Nas Avengers or whatever, but listen, facts are facts, man. It is. Did Magic not happen? Did KD2 not happen? Are those not quality albums? Are those albums not better than 444? No, let's really address this, especially for the people that want to say we're biased. Because I'm more of a Jay fan. I'm more of a Jay fan than Nas, and I have been since we started the show. But I have to face the realities that 444 and Holy Grail, they're not better than KD2, or Magic. They just are not. And then we want to throw Distant Relatives in there. Then you want to throw Nasir in there. Honestly, Life 444 is not better than Nasir. Yeah, throw Life is Good in there. And when you throw all that in there, it just doesn't match up.
That's the last 10 years, just the output alone. Because here's what people have to understand. Part of why Jay was kind of poking at Nas about the one hot album every 10-year average thing, he was also pointing to the output in the pace. He's like, I'm at your pace. I got here 2 years after you.
Yeah. I got here 2 years after you, and I have lapped you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what do you say about the last 10 years?
Exactly.
That's what I mean about the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady thing. It's like, well, yeah, it's like even if you thought it was a conversation, it's like, well, not really the past decade. It's like, look at this past decade versus that past decade.
I see somebody said too many guys in 96. Let's just go through it real quick. 96 is Tupac. 97 is Big. 98 is DMX. 99,
Maybe. I'm cool giving him 99 unless you want to say Dre, because that's
Is that not DMX again? I think it might be.
I think 99 is the murky year.
99 might be DMX again. Or, yeah.
It's possible.
2000. That could. I'm giving that to Ghost. I'm sorry. Supreme Clientele's getting my 2000. 2001, I'll give that one to Jay.
See, that's what I'm saying. How can you lose a battle and still get the crown? Okay, I don't understand.
Well, I don't think.
No, Wilt Chamberlain would win an MVP award and then lose to Bill Russell in the finals.
Yeah, I don't think when Ether comes out in December of '01, it takes away everything he did in '01. You know what I mean?
Right.
2002, I'm giving that to Face. Or Eminem. You know what? Fuck that. I'm giving that to Eminem. He had 8 Mile, had the Eminem show. I can't be biased like that.
Look at you showing growth.
02, got to give that to Eminem. 03, that's 50 Cent. 04, Kanye West. 05, might be Kanye again, but that could go to The Game or Common.
Or T.I.
I might give T.I. 06.
Okay.
Wasn't King 06? 07. Yeah. See, it's getting murky now. 07, that's the guy that did $1 million in a week. It's Kanye.
Yeah, he got a lot of big shit.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, he's major.
Ye could have really gotten 05 too, being generous. But yeah, he definitely got 04, 07.
I mean,
didn't and then 08, that's the Carter 3.
05 if Ye did is graduation 05?
Graduation's 05 and so is B. He has
and he
to get that.
executive produced B in 05?
He damn near produced the whole album. Not
That's
even
a landslide. That's a landslide.
I'm sorry, yeah.
You released Graduation, and you're the executive producer of B, including almost doing, I believe, 90% of the beats on there.
Right.
And we have what we call a landslide victory.
08, that's the Carter 3. 08, that's the Carter 3. Now, do you want to give Jay 09 for the Blueprint 3? I don't know. Jay Short with the super chat. Actually, 09 might have been Drake, because that's when he came with So Far Gone, I believe. Jay Short with the super chat says, can Blueprint be a classic with Izzo, Girls, Ola Ovito, and Jigga, and That Nigga Jigga. That's 4 songs out of 13. Not trolling. Serious question. I mean, you're not trolling because I had that same conversation today. I said that when Jay falls short, when it comes to seamless classic, end-to-end classic, is when he's trying to make a record that is going to sell records. And that example is definitely Ola Ovito. Jigga That Nigga Jigga, and in my opinion, Renegade on the Blueprint because it didn't fit. You know what I'm saying?
It was definitely a placement record. It's like, we need to do this song.
Mm-hmm. It was a business move. And I think him being the businessman he is sometimes gets in the way of the artist, if that makes any sense. Because there's no way in hell Kanye West puts Jigga Jigga That Nigga Jigga on his album if he's making the Blueprint. You know what I mean? He's not. It doesn't make sense. Outkast doesn't do that. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Outkast doesn't call like DJ Quick in Too Short for a quick, like,
yeah, it
right.
Doesn't make sense.
It's like, no, it didn't make sense.
And even when they put Raekwon on Akumenai, they made it work. They made it make sense with that album.
No, Outkast and Wu-Tang make sense because that's Southern slang and East Coast slang. It's like a vernacular war.
Right.
It's
but
like,
it wasn't like the Sonics were just so far out where it's like, oh no, you're trying to make something that would fit on the purple tape. You know what I mean?
It's two groups that have made doing something defiantly different work already.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Southern artists weren't naming their tracks Over the Woods in Babylon and Extraterrestrial and Two Dope Boys and AT. Like the song titles were different even. Their song titles were different.
Ray was all over the place during that time, man. He was on Tash's album as well during that
period. You remember that? That was one of the best songs.
I love Rap Life. I love Tash's album Rap Life too, man. Tash is an underrated guy, man. Shout out to him. Willard Winston with the super chat says, who was on top in 2009? That's the closest. Let's do some research on that too while I go through these super chats. Jay Short says 99. That wasn't Juvenile. It's a good point.
Ooh, solid.
Very good point. That might be Juvenile.
I mean, 400 Degrees is a game changer.
Game changer. It ran that whole year. Even though it technically came out in 98, but you know, that whole Cash Money run runs off of that. Leroy Green is mad right now. 09, who we got? What all came out in 09, Coop?
I'm pulling it up right now.
All right, let me see. Let me get to these other super chats. People are saying 09 is Drake.
We got Ray with the purple tape too.
Yeah. People said Jeezy 05. That's interesting because I would put The Game over that. You were out in Cali in 05. What do you say between Game and Jeezy?
Game.
Okay. But the fact that Kanye did Late Registration and B, that's an MVP season.
Hold on, it's not Late Registration? It's Late Registration is 05 and B?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's not even a discussion.
Not to mention what he did on Kamikaze for Twister. I believe that was 05 too.
That might be his best year, Mike.
I think it is. Because I want to say that's when he was working with Brandy too.
That's two classics.
He was doing a lot.
That's classic artist, classic producer, classic executive producer all in 1 year.
That was his 95 actually. Yeah, for RZA.
Yeah, that was his 95.
Nas the Goat says, so where would y'all place Ja Rule? He ran some years. Ja Rule's biggest year would be I guess I could say 2000, 2001 ish, right?
I mean, so who are the contestants for I'm gonna be honest, 2009 is not good. You got like Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon, The End of the Day. Got Gucci Man, State versus Roderick Davis. Got UGK for Life.
Yeah.
Just Lil Wayne's No Ceilings. Doom's Born Like This. You got the Purple Tape 2.
Mm-hmm.
Q-Tip released Kamal the Abstract. DJ Quick and Corrupt, that would be a sleeper for that year. Wale, Attention Deficit.
Transitional year.
The Ecstatic.
People love Most Def's Ecstatic. I
I
do
don't know
too.
why, but
You
I'm gonna
don't
go
love that
listen
album?
again. But I don't. I mean, is that? I mean, let's just be honest though. Is that better? Is it better than the Purple Tape 2? Because I would give it
No.
the Ray if you're really being
Well, the
honest.
Blueprint 3 is in that too.
Yeah, I mean that's why I
Yeah.
know, Mike. That's why I said it's like, hold on. I mean, I enjoy the Blueprint 3, but it's not as good as the Purple Tape 2. Let's not like get that confused.
But would he get the MVP over that because that's two guys, really? It's not better than the Purple Tape 2. I agree
I'm with
with
some
that.
co MVP. I'm with Ray and Jace sharing some co MVP. What do you think about a co MVP? One guy made the bangers, like the stuff that got put out to the masses, but the other guy put the album together, and it was like both OG albums, but just different. It's like an OG street album, and then like an OG like for the masses album, and they both did it really well. It's just
That's
the
one
Purple
that could
Tape 2
go
is
either
better.
way. That's one that could go either way. If somebody said Jay's year was '01 and '09, I wouldn't be mad at that. But if they say that was Ray's year, or if somebody said that was Drake's year, I wouldn't be mad at that either. But it wasn't a great year. It's like
It
that's like
wasn't,
winning in
Mike,
a
but it's just
lockout
you want to know
season.
what? There's nothing
'09 is the
as
bubble in the lockout season.
right. Nothing as exciting on the Blueprint 3 is when that beat drops and Ray goes, rapper stepping to me.
It want a
I
brick,
want
son.
bricks, son. I'm the price, chef. And
I'm
the
the chef. My
beat,
price is
like there's
26, son. Yo.
and here's the thing I want to get to, because we're gonna talk about one of arguably hip hop's first real pioneer, Mike. Even back then, do you notice how Busy B was talking about? Well, he wanted me for my voice.
Mm-hmm.
The voice we can't put enough emphasis even in the origins and the early stages of this thing for the first MCs, how it wasn't even about if they could rhyme or not. If they had the voice to command and control the crowd, your voice matters in here.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Your voice matters.
Rapster with the super chat says graduation is '07, late registration '05. Yes, it is. I think there's some other super chats that I am missing. Oh, the raisin head says I'm 96 when Big Pac Jay were already who they were lyrically. Nas was displaying a better display of rapping than them all with It Was Written and his
Correct.
features.
Correct.
Lyricist of the year for 96, yes. But it's hard to beat Tupac in 96. It really is.
See, that's what I mean. So it's like, so for that, that's why it's like, if you're saying 96, I would tell you 96 would be Pac's championship season, but Nas is the MVP that year. You feel what
He's
I'm
the
saying? It's like, no,
MVP.
Pac wins the championship, but like Nas is the real MVP that year because the lyrical legend that he is cemented around that album, not Illmatic. It's the stuff that he did right after Illmatic. It's like, oh, he did that, but then he had this. That's the I Gave You Power, the setup. Take It in Blood.
Let's have this conversation because we just talked about the takeover. In the moment, how well was it was written received?
Not like it should have been, and I've always told you that.
And I think that it's hard to say he's the MVP if in the year of 1996 it wasn't received in the way that it should have been received. Because if it was received in that way, Jay would have never been able to get away with that line.
This is
One
what I'm
hot
saying.
album every 10-year average, you know?
So listen to what I'm saying when I say that, and this is what makes that thought so ridiculous. Well, only one person was number one on the rap charts for 4 straight weeks that year. That was Nas with It Was Written. Not even The Score did that. The Score went number one on regular Billboard charts, not even hip hop charts. All right.
Well, according to Ego Trip, he did that on the back of the Fugees.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is it's like, well, what do you want out of the MVP season? Because it's like, I know we're not about to talk about the rhymes. Well, you want the numbers? Because it's like, well, he went double platinum too. You want to talk about the singles? Because it's like, well, he was releasing number one rap singles too with Street Dreams remix, If I Rule the World. Well, you want the rhymes? There's I Gave You Power and Take It in Blood. You want collaborations? There's Nas Is Coming. There's Affirmative Action. There's Live Nigga Rap. Like, what do you want him to do?
You got B-sides like Silent Murder out there. I think 96 might be the year that I heard Nas on the radio the most.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, that might be Pac's championship season, but Nas is the MVP that year. He did some of everything. You got your street shit. You got your album shit. You got nobody gotten a beat from Dre from the East Coast in '96. That's monumental stuff.
That's real. Michael Sanders with the super chat says, "Would love to hear you guys top 10 hip hop voices." Go ahead, Coop. I know you know off the top where you're going with yours.
Biggie, Tupac, Method Man. That's like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost of voices to me. Chuck B, KRS-One, Ice Cube. So we're at 6. Nas, Rakim, 7, 8. Scarface, 9.
What do you think about Jadakiss being in that? Raekwon or Jadakiss when it comes to rap voice?
I like Ray's voice better.
Okay. Did you
like Kiss's voice? Also, too, Kiss's voice is great, but also feel like it can limit him in some moments.
How so? Because he was able to get on that Maya Best to Me. He was able to get on Usher's I Want You Back.
It's too cool, Mike. The voice is too cool. It's too cool. It's too easy sometimes. That's what I mean. Like, he, even when him and Ray is on, you remember Broken Safety off the Purple Tape?
Mm-hmm.
He's got the best verse lyrically, but it's Ray's energy when his voice matches it. You know what I'm saying? Stop that. You know we done that. You know we run rap. Stop fronting, son. Put the gun back. It's different when Ray speak to you.
What about André 3000's
He's hitting the mic different, and it's his voice is what his voice does. That's what I mean about how your voice matters. It's the boom and the precision that Ray can provide at the same time. Like Ray's voice can boom and be precise all at once. It's like it can boom like Prodigy's and be like Ray vocally is actually somewhere between Kiss and Prodigy. You feel what I'm saying? This is not that heavy boom, but it's not that high pitched pierce. It's that pocket right in the middle that sounds so good.
What do you think about André 3000 or Pimp C's rap voice?
I was thinking about André in the back of my head when we were having this discussion. I would probably take Ice Cube out and put André in. I like Andre's voice more than Ice Cube's. Or I would take Cube or Scarface out and put probably André and Ray in.
What do you think about, and I'm going to flip this question a little bit, who in the current generation do you think has the best rap voice?
Give me current, as in they came out when?
Came out in the past 10 years.
Shit. I think that's part of the problem.
Benny?
I told you Benny's got a great rap voice, but I was thinking about him and Cole, but I was about to say Cole's more than 10 years now. I can't say Cole anymore.
Yeah. What about, Freddie's more than 10 years too.
Freddie's more than 10 years too. Yeah. That's what I was thinking about too, because I love Freddie's voice. Freddie and Kiss have a lot of the same vocal attributes to me in terms of how it hits you and pierces you, but Freddie's like way more aggressive.
It might be Benny, man, because I'm thinking.
It might be Benny. I was about to say, I'm thinking Benny.
Yeah.
Benny has the best rap voice for the last 10 years of somebody that you've heard who's fresh, yeah.
You know, Amani Ceasa's there too. If we want to stay in that camp, her rap voice is awesome.
She has a glorious fucking voice. Man.
Yeah. Jay Short
want her to be good.
Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says Pac won finals, Super Bowl, and World Series in '96. Right. Mad Max in the super chat says, I think of a chip the way the Rap Roundtable was discussing is about a classic album MVP is the impact that the person had that year. Okay. Championship would be a classic album. I could see that. We got a couple more super chats here. Hold on. Man with the super chat says, Pac, 2 projects in '96. That's MVP Finals, MVP All-Star, MVP. Ohio K says, Lord Have Mercy's voice. Dope voice. And, Rock Marciano got a dope rap voice, too. Since we're going to go to flip mode.
But, see, that's what I'm saying. When you're saying they have dope voices, this is what I mean. If your voice can hinder you over the duration of a whole album, then that's not an all-time great rap voice. And so Lord Have Mercy and Rock Marciano would not fit that criteria.
Mad Max says, Pop Smoke and Chef G has the best rap voices I've heard in the last 10 years.
Pop Smoke's voice. Pop Smoke.
So what do y'all think about Fabio Foreign then? I mean, very similar.
Pop has a way better voice to me.
Ohio K says, and Jizza's voice. You like Jizza's voice? Okay. I think Jizza has a very commanding voice.
It's an old school commander of the ceremonies voice, but I don't love his voice.
Flipper says, Jay is biting from the book of the André 3000 book of building a cult around guest features and absolving himself from making an album. I think that is very astute. I've said that to myself today as well. Like this buzz reminds me of the buzz we get whenever Andre shows up on anything. I think Coop and I were talking about that offline.
We've already
Actually,
said this. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
we're
just they're
talking
getting in
about
our
that.
heads of our behind the scenes conversations now.
Yeah. And I was saying that of Andre's feature run that people are so impressed by, the verse that impresses me the most is the verse with Big Boy,
Royal
Royal
Flush.
Flush. Yeah. Royal
And I
Flush, and I would say International Players Anthem.
and it's funny. I agreed with you on both of those verses, and I'm right there with you. Outside of those two verses, not super impressed the way, and not saying the verses aren't impressive,
But it
but not
ain't greatest
impressed the
shit of
way
all
everybody
time
else
shit.
is. Yeah, the way everybody else talks about those verses, we sitting down here like, it's like, yeah, but he
Yeah.
made Equipment
I mean,
two
yeah.
dope boys in a Cadillac.
Now,
so
I will say this, and I said this offline as well, 16 Ain't Enough was the other one that I would say was very impressive.
Yeah, it's gold, silver, bronze right there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I mean, for me, it's almost like they hyped up the International Players Anthem verse so much in retrospect to the other great verses that are on there. Because I told you, Bun and Big Boy have dope ass verses on there. And
I think Big Boy's verse on there is great. I would put it in this order. I'm going Dre. But Pimp C's verse really sets it off because that's when the beat comes in, and that's when everybody really gets into the song.
That's when the party starts.
Right. When Pimp C comes in, that's really when the song starts. So it's hard to really. I'm just gonna say Dre, Big Boy, Pimp C, and then Bun B.
Now you want to know what that record is, and it's rare that this happens this late for a region. That's probably the best collab song that's ever come out of the South, Mike. Outkast and UGK on International Players Anthem. That's the best collab ever.
Well, that's the one we've been waiting on. I think that when they did Tough Guy off of the Shaft soundtrack, it was a dope song, but it left room for a little bit more.
Throw Your Hands with 8Ball and MJG is
I was
there.
going to mention that
this
one.
Is the one.
I was going to mention that one too. And I love
Throw
that
Your
record.
Hands is dope. Sipping on Some Syrup is right there too. The International Players Anthem. Because it's UGK, because UGK, I think, for everybody, embody what the South is hip-hop wise, and Outkast is the best group that we have hip-hop wise. So when you put them together and they all perform, that's the record. And that's just no disrespect to Juicy J and DJ Paul. They're just not fucking Big Boy and André.
Nah, I think they know that. I'm a big 3-6 fan. I think that whenever, and this is my thing too, as a 3-6 fan in that era, whenever they used to segment their group off and you get 2 out of the 6 members, you still, like it's not the same.
Right.
Like so used to seeing all of them and hearing all of them together, because one of the biggest things of what, and talking about voices again, one of my biggest things when it comes to 3-6 is the vocal dynamics of everybody in that group. And that's what makes their songs so potent the way they do it. So when you just got 2 of the guys, it's not the same. I was going to say, and I know we probably don't want to talk about this record because of the individual, but Neck of the Woods, Outkast, and Mystical was a crazy record.
No, that's a dope ass record. I don't mind talking about Mystical. It's like, him being, a predator doesn't change the fact that he did some great music. I've thought about some stuff. So, I watched that Seinfeld show on Netflix, comedians getting coffee in cars. Because I'm from Charlotte, so we love some cars, especially some customized cars, and it has those. But to quote my friend Andrew, who I do the Mirror Music podcast with, I like watching people who are great at what they do talking about the greatness of it. And essentially that's what that show is. It's a legendary comic in Seinfeld who is talking to other legendary comics, and he runs the gamut. It's everybody from Will Ferrell to Dave Chappelle. It's all sides of the coin. And one of the things that I've kind of taken away from that show is that, greatness has a niche to it that everybody kind of finds within themselves. And hip hop kind of works that way too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so comparatively speaking, what you have, and this is just to kind of wrap up the Jay thing. It's like, well, he's the guy, that can do what Seinfeld does, which is literally pull up on every other guy because of who he's been in the mass public side. It's like, even if they don't like that guy, because of what that guy did for that time that he did it, which was so important. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh man, he can just literally pull up, be like, hey, want to get a cup of coffee? And it's like, half these people could hate this guy, but it's like, no, they're going to pull up with him. He's Seinfeld. You can't really tell him no or deny the contribution. There's some of that going on here. Because what I find so striking is the way that he's able to pull up on everybody, and it's very J-like.
Yeah, it is. Born King with the super chat says, after Illmatic, he had some of the best verses on features and mixtape verses. Eye for an Eye, Verbal Intercourse, Fast Life, More Money, More Murder, etc. Yes, Reggie says, what about Dre's verse on I Can't Wait? I love that verse. That was a little early, though. I feel like Outkast was still not totally done. I guess I'm thinking like well past Idlewild feature run. But I Can't Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, that was like 03, right? 02, 03? They were still kind of... No, that was probably around 04. That might be like... 02? Was that before The Love Below?
Yeah, Idlewild's before The Love Below, man.
No, Idlewild is after The Love Below. But I'm talking about... Yeah, it is. But I'm talking about that song. Was that song... I think that was slightly after The Love Below. Maybe
I'm thinking about The Whole World and the Greatest Hits. That's
yeah. Now, that was before The Love Below. Nas the GOAT says, where would y'all rank Ross's voice? That's a good question. Ross has a dope rap voice.
He does. It's up there.
I think it's very commanding. I think that he adjusts that production style that people take on, and what they even took on God Did, it's tailored around Ross's voice. All the Maybach music, he has a whole sound. You know, people talk about his beat selection, but even with that, it's not like his voice doesn't sound right over something like BMF. Like, it's very interchangeable. I think we need to talk about Ross's voice more. It's possibly top 10.
It's hard to because of Biggie, because it does a lot of the things that Big's voice does, and it's not as good. It's not.
We shouldn't hold that against him, though.
I mean, I'm not holding it against him, but it's like that. How about this? That's what gets held against Kobe in the top 10 talk.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, the thing is, I was gonna say,
LeBron's ranked higher in people's eyes.
Kobe mirrored a lot of things that, Michael Jordan did.
So does Rick Ross vocally to Big.
Yeah, I know. You're right. I mean, it's a great correlation. I mean, you're right. Yeah. I can't refute that. Well, I guess
that may matter more in this sport than it does in that sport.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You can't help your voice though, but you can help how you play the game of basketball. Listen, I don't fault Kobe for doing that. You go out there, see the greatest player ever, and you mirror what they're doing to get your greatness in line. Who wouldn't?
Championship wise, he only can. I mean, see, here's my thing, and this is how I always look at it. It's like, well, Mike has 6 rings as the man. Kobe has 2 rings as the man. He's got 5, but he's got 2 as the man. You feel me?
Well, I guess we could just go ahead and just deduce that to the 6 finals MVPs versus 2 finals MVPs. That tells you everything right there.
Just evidence. Yeah, it's just evidence.
Yeah.
Same thing when we go like the whole Kevin Durant, Steph Curry thing. It's like, oh, Steph's greater. It's like, well, how did it go when they played together and they were like in the finals? Who won those MVPs? How did that go?
Exactly.
That's the end of the conversation.
It is. Straight up.
It is. It just is. You played together for 3 years, went to 3 finals. One guy got hurt. When he got hurt, you couldn't win. The other time he was healthy, you won both times.
You're right. And he got both finals MVPs.
Hold on. And listen, and you did that to LeBron. It's like you couldn't beat Kawhi without him.
Facts.
Don't tell me you're beating LeBron without him. You couldn't beat Kawhi without him.
You sound like me.
It's just the truth. I told you I'm from Carolina. People be giving me flack. It's like, no, I know what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to be honest, man.
I saw the fact that team, LeBron had like 8 rings right now if it wasn't for Kevin Durant going to Golden State.
True. Born King with the super chat says, first time I heard Mobb Deep was on the Nas song One-on-One from the Street Fighter soundtrack. Another classic Nas joint. Damn, he's digging in the crate.
Stuff everywhere.
36 Chambers says, is there a Wu-Tang member with a weak voice or that falls behind the other members? You know, the quote-unquote weakest member to a lot of people has one of the stronger voices.
Because you got
yeah.
right. Him and Meth are actually vocally comparable at times.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of Method Man to his voice. Yeah.
I like Master Killer's voice too.
I didn't love his voice at first, but then I realized his voice is necessary in order for the clan to work. Glaciers of Ice would be the example.
That's the first thing I thought about. Proceed with caution as you enter the symphony.
Here's the other one. Duel of the Iron Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, in my opinion, and this is no slight to anybody, because Wu-Tang is the most lyrically dense group of all time. I would say the bottom part of Wu would be You Got Master Killer. They both have strong voices.
Yes, and strong bars, Mike, on Duel of the Iron Mike. Who can withstand this punishing stings to the sternum, chopped in the hip-hop lock stop, seeking for a serum to cure him. That's Master Killer.
That's your 8th member? That's crazy.
That's the low end bar work of the Wu-Tang Clan. It's the low end bar work. Stunishing, sternum, punishing. This is the bar work that's going on by Master Killer.
It's insane. Jay Short with the super chat says, for old school voices, it has to be Kumo D. I like Kumo D's voice. But see, again, like what Coop was saying.
That's part of why he beat Busy D. He had a better voice.
You had to have a great voice back then. You know, speaking of which, I think there's somebody you left out in that top 10, and I think he has a top 5 voice. LL Cool J.
I was thinking Slick Rick.
Oh, yeah, him too. All the old school guys are going to take this top 10 up because you had to have a great voice.
You had to. That's why I was like, well, really, Mike, and you're right. If you think about it, it's like Cool G Rap and Kane have distinct voices, and they're the only voices that you wouldn't say are like all-time great, maybe. You know what I mean? Like
Kane has a great voice. I would just listen to
They all have great voices.
Yeah, I would just listen to
Cool G Rap's voice because it sounds like nothing that you've ever heard before.
What about DMX? This is a beat that I can freak. It just dropped the real. He has a legendary voice.
Who, DMX?
Yeah, people go out there on stand-up comedy trying to imitate him. Yeah.
Maybe top 10. It's top 10-ish, yeah.
Yeah. Hard. Born King says, name one bad verse from Master Killer. I'll wait.
That's what I'm saying. And you want to know what's crazy? Is that he'll show up and show out, and you won't notice because it's like, well, he rarely has the best verse. Even that verse on Duel of the Iron Mike, it's the weakest verse on there still. Because that comes in right after him and just destroys the record.
I think he's the least flashy member of the Wu.
Yeah.
He's the least flashy member.
But this is what I mean. It's vocally because it's like his verse lyrically is comparable to Deck on Duel of the Iron Mike. But then Deck's voice comes in. The thugs kill for drugs, plus the young bucks bust. Duck in handcuffs, throats get cut when dough rust. Out of town foes look shook but still pose. We move like real pros through the streets we stroll. Bullet holes lacing windows in 160. So control the avenue, that's the dream that's old.
That's
that motherfucker nice, Mike. That motherfucker nice.
Crazy.
They nice.
What about Guru? People are talking about Guru with the voice. I like Corrupt's voice too. I don't
love Corrupt's voice like that. See, that's what I mean. It's like Corrupt and Guru's voice for a whole album. Sometimes it's like it has its moments though.
Really?
Yeah, you don't feel that way? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. What stands out to me about Moment of Truth over all the other Gang Starr albums is how long Guru holds up. That's great production. It's like in the end, that's what I mean about how long Moment of Truth is. And even the guest appearances come around at like the right time to break it up. It's like you don't hear him at all until you hear Deck on Above the Clouds. That's about 4 or 5 straight records of Guru. Then they break it up.
Did you say Snoop or Q-Tip?
Thinking Snoop. I forgot about Q-Tip. That's what I'm saying. We can do this for days. I told you it matters more than people are really giving it credit for. Look at all the top MCs of all time. Well, we're naming them right now. It's funny how most of them have great voices. There's only a few people listening to this conversation, like Wayne, Kendrick. We're naming the other guys.
Yeah. The thing about Snoop, especially when you look at Doggy Style, he held down so many of those great songs by himself. You don't really notice how great his voice is in contrast to others until you hear something like Serial Killer. And it's like, when he comes in, it's like, whoa. Now you in the midst of the Dog Pound crew. Or like, it ain't no fun.
So that's what I'm saying. How can you say Corrupt has a great voice when it's like...
No, I'm wrong. I'm just reading the chat.
Yeah. Like, because here's the thing. How about this?
Bringing up names.
How about this? I love Deck's voice. Deck ain't in Ray and Mess league vocally.
Yeah.
For as piercing and as stunning as he can be.
I mean, listen,
Because it's got to hold up for an album worth of being wanting to listen to you vocally.
As great as I think Corrupt is, and I had Streets as a mother, I listen to that front to back, whatever. He can't make a Who Am I, What's My Name like Snoop did, man. Mm-hmm. You got to be special to make a record like that.
Even think about Snoop on the joint with Beanie Siegel after Becoming.
Yeah.
Like, I like Siegel's rap voice, but it's like when Snoop comes in on the hook, it's like, oh, that's one of the best voices ever.
It is.
And you don't stop.
Yeah, Snoop is the top 5 voice. Ryan Gillum with the super chat.
It should be. Hold on. Snoop or Slick Rick?
I'm giving Snoop. Damn, I don't like that, man. I shouldn't have to choose between them two. I think both of them deserve to be in the top 5.
Top 5?
I think
they're not making my top.
They have such distinctive voices, man. Like, I think the versatility of the voice.
Like top 1, 2, 3, like however you want to mix and match. My 1, 2, 3, like you're not getting inside my top 3. Those are the 3 best rap voices I ever heard.
You said Method Man, Biggie, and who else?
Tupac.
You know, when you listen to America's Most, I think it could be an argument that Snoop's voice is better than Tupac's voice.
Because you mean when you listen to Doggy Style?
I feel like
you said America's Most.
Not America's Most. I'm talking about the song. 2 of America's Most Wanted. With both of them
2 of America's Most. Oh, you're talking about the song.
Yeah. With both of them going back and forth, you ask me if I just dropped in from space and you ask me who had the best rap voice on there, I'm going Snoop.
I don't agree.
I'm sorry, I am, man. It's like blood, gang bang, and everybody in the corner doing dope.
To get with her? No, I can't. No.
You gotta have papers in this world. You might get your first shit before your eye swirl. You're doing your job. I don't know, man.
About the flow. If you want to talk about the flow, then yeah, you can give them the flow, but I'm not giving them.
I don't know, man.
Voice, no.
Picture perfect.
Like Pac's voice is like somewhere from like the soul of Chuck D, but like it's not as heavy, but it's almost as heavy. But the power, like nobody's been able to emphasize and enunciate in hip hop with the power vocally the way Pac was.
Ryan Gillum with the super chat says, "Have y'all listened to the infamous album that has Prodigy's vocals replaced by Nas?" No, have not. I'm sure that's
no. Somebody sent that to us on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Not on YouTube, on Twitter.
Got to check that out. Stillmatic says Snoop is a top 5 voice, and I'm giving Pac 95 and 96. Me Against the World is an underrated album. I don't know if underrated is the word to describe Me Against the World. It's just different, says Beanie Siegel's voice. Beanie has a great voice. And I think that's why we make such a big deal about Beanie's voice not being where it used to be. Because his rap voice was so great.
No, that's what I mean. And so even when you put Beanie next to Snoop, it's like, well, nah.
Boy and King says RZA's voice is trash, though. Yeah. Wow.
You want to know what? I give you Snoop top 5, Mike. It's hard not to, because part of the appeal when you first hear him on Deep Cover is it's like you had never heard nobody sound like that before.
Yeah, man.
It was part of the buy-in with Q-Tip. It was even part of the buy-in with Nas, because even for whatever you feel about Nas, nobody had ever heard somebody vocally who sounded like him rap like that before that was coming from out there. All the other guys were really, really like heavy and throaty and loud.
Inspector with the super chat says Master Killer got the best verse on Triumph. I've never heard that before. And your name is Inspector. You're wildin'. Are you trolling, Inspector? Man there with the super chat says Buster, Chubb Rock, LL Cool J, KRS, Heavy D, Cube, Face. Okay. Let me see. Get through these. We got Born King says Dave East's voice reminds me of Guru. I've never heard that either. Rapster says, have y'all mentioned the Busta Rhymes? Definitely a top hip hop voice. Flipper says, Slick Rick's Sitting in My Car came on randomly on my XM radio today. I had to pull over and listen twice. That voice and the charisma is a one of one. Yeah, it is.
I would be cool if Snoop and Slick Rick were like my 4 and 5. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Computer Blue says, Pac's voice shook the White House. Holla if you hear me. Jay Short with the super chat says, honorable mention to Black Rob, my favorite voice. R.I.P. I like Black Rob's rap voice. I think it's very interesting.
He's one of hip hop's most underrated storytellers, and part of what makes him such a great storyteller is his command of his voice. Yes.
Jay Short says Snoop's voice and flow changed rap. Born King says Snoop on that Pac song reminded me of Melly Mel on The Message. I mean, yeah, he took the flow and everything, but I'm just saying what he was able to do to cut through with his voice. You know, going back and forth with somebody with a voice like Pac ain't easy. And Snoop was able to do it seamlessly.
Well, I was about to say, see, here's the problem. Who else is even big enough to do back and forth with Pac around that time?
I'm trying to think of whoever did a back and forth with Pac.
It's hard. That's what I'm saying. He vocally dominates you so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't feel like that on that song.
Like, so how about this? Vocally, Pac is like Shaq. Snoop is like Hakeem.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I could see that.
Yeah.
Power
Snoop's
versus
gonna dream shake and slide and pivot and underhand you and shimmy. You know what I mean? Pac is like dunk.
Well, with all that being said, I guess we can kind of close out this subject. I just think that, you know, and I know this is kind of off subject because we were talking about something else. I think that we still need a Jay-Z album, you know, and I don't think that this 4-minute verse is going to blind the real hip-hop fans from the notion that, you know, KD2, Magic, and all that's out there. I mean, right now, Jay-Z's second place. I love him. I think he's had an incredible career. I think he's one of the greatest lyricists of all time, one of the greatest MCs. His longevity is incredible. But I can't just sit here and gush over a verse like this when Nas just made KD2 and Magic. I just can't. Maybe if that didn't happen, maybe I would feel different. Maybe if Nas is just, you know, had dropped Nasir and that's it, and this is what we got to go on for our greats from the 90s, maybe I would feel different. But after Magic and KD2 dropped in the same year, 27 years in your career, this verse doesn't move me in that way where I'm acting like, yo, he's the greatest. Because that's the conversation. So, still need an album.
I dig this.
Varel says, how about Rockin' This Monster? Yeah. Hell, Sean Price too. Yeah, man.
Rock's got a great voice.
Rockin' Ruck got a great voice.
That's the Lord Have Mercy thing. Him and Lord Have Mercy have like brilliant voices, but it's like you gonna listen to that whole album for a solo album?
Well, you know, I don't know about a solo album, but they really contrast really well together. I love Magnum Force. Like a lot of people like the first album, but Magnum Force.
No, Magnum Force is the shit, Mike, and they found their rhythm and their mojo. Like, how about this? I wish they would have stayed together as a duo.
I do too, man. I love it. But they did. They did, but didn't. You know what I mean? Like, they were still cool.
No, they didn't. Yeah. No, they didn't.
Sean Price was just too much as a solo album.
They, to me, were closest to, like, being able to potentially give Mobb Deep some run as far as that East Coast duo when I heard Magnum Force. Oh, so the fact that never materialized, and Magnum Force, it's no infamous by any means, but, you know what I'm saying?
That album,
but it was there. Like, the bars were there. Like, lyrically, you know, them two together are better than Havoc and Prodigy because, you know, Ruck and Sean are better than Havoc. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they're better than a lot of people.
About to say, but I mean, how do you feel about them even within the boot camp clique, Mike? Because I thought two of the three best members of the boot camp clique are Helter Skelter.
Yeah. I mean, you can hear that shit on the I Ain't Having That. Like, I love that record. That was one of them songs that when it used to come on like BET or whatever, I would stop everything. Like, those dudes was just going at it. Like, the whole song. It was like boom, boom, boom.
No, they was nice. They was nice. And the records were there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can't stand me because I pack heat like Miami, waiting on you niggas outside of the Grammys. They be killing me, how they willing to be drilling me because your shorty wop just be feeling me. Is it me? On my at go chain or the way up the Soul Train, I got niggas on the West Coast. They carrying heat in their trench coats. What do you say?
I mean, so that's what I'm saying. But I mean, Rock and Sean, I mean, like, it's them and Buckshot to me. And then it's after that, I'd probably go Tech.
Mm-hmm. I agree with all of that. Reggie, super chat.
I mean, I don't know about you, but Mike, even at the time, it's like, even though Buckshot was kind of still like the star of the group, I always thought that Ruck and Sean were a little bit better MC-wise, and I had Buckshot third, and then I had Tech.
Back then, man, I was more of a Ruck guy.
No, I told you Ruck. And then
no, not Ruck. I'm sorry. I was more of a rock guy. You know what I mean? And then Sean Price just came through and just started going crazy. Sean Price took over the boot camp clique over time.
Yeah, over time.
But I think back then, yeah. Reggie with the super chat says Notorious B1 voice. Y'all look crazy.
It's very shady.
Well, you know what, man? That story just went away. I would expect like the Art of Dialogue or somebody to interview Notorious B1. Some people, and maybe they're listening to the show now, some people have gone in our comment section saying that they were there during those sessions. We're like, look, reach out to us. We would love to talk to you about the situation, but nobody is coming forth on anything. So if Notorious B1 ain't gonna say anything and any of the people involved ain't gonna say anything, I guess I can only assume that maybe it's not like they're saying it was.
I mean, Mike, you know, sometimes you get paid off and the money goes, but you still got to shut the fuck up.
Well, again, you get paid off, like you said. Then it's a non-issue, right? After you get paid off, it's a non-issue.
I mean, because here's the thing: if we are reaching out and opening up a viable avenue for people to speak, and they're not speaking, I always look at it like this: is like when something like this bubbles to the surface, and then people get quiet. It's like, well, you're either being intimidated and/or extorted, or you've already been paid off.
Right.
Now, if you're not being intimidated and/or extorted, you've been paid off.
We got to give that other option too.
Non-violent.
Well, we got to give that other option too, to be fair. Maybe it just didn't happen, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't think Vlad TV or Art of Dialogue has reached out to the Notorious B1?
Did you hear that record, Mike?
I heard the record.
Oh, this shit happened.
Maybe it came out in 95. I don't know. Ain't nobody saying nothing. I don't know.
Mike, we don't have no solid proof on OJ. This better than OJ shit, all right? You be walking around talking about that OJ didn't do his shit. It's like, oh, no. You're right, Mike. We still don't have all the evidence. We got evidence, Mike.
Well, again,
I like to present.
Nobody's testifying, Coop.
They be like, do you have an Exhibit B? They're like, motherfucker, did you see Exhibit A? They're like,
but Coop,
right, jury's going to deliberate.
You don't have a witness. Nobody's going to the stand. So
we don't got Mike, we got the gun with fingerprints, though. Give a fuck about a witness when we got a gun with fingerprints. Give a fuck about a witness. Fuck a witness.
Because this is my thing.
You know whose hands on the gun, right? Take that.
But Coop, this is my thing. I think that the initial article is bogus because who talked to this guy and now you don't want to talk? You know what I mean? Like the initial article has to be bogus. I would say that at least, right?
All I gotta say is take that.
Darren Harris with the super chat says, better Venus versus Mars song. Cube, Yo-Yo, Nas, Foxy, Hardcore, Ghost and Charlie, Stand Up, Jay and Foxy, Ain't No Nigga, and Kim and B.I.G., Another. My favorite song out of all of those,
first one,
is Ghost and Charlie.
I'm going Cube and Yo-Yo.
I like that one too.
I don't like Stand Up like that.
I love Stand Up. I'm like Spider-Man's big brother.
You just love all things Ghost from that time period, and he can't tell you nothing. Right.
Like Spider-Man's big brother up in the Clan. Drop like crack that's scattered all up in your van. Man. Reggie says, Lords of the Underground, Chief Rocker. I don't know what that was a response to. LP with the super chat says, the J-Verse showed me that there are more people that care about how you say something than what you're saying. I need both, but what you're saying goes over how you say it. I agree. I think that verse is more so about the way he's styled on certain things because there's nothing intricate to break down there for the most part. And I think a lot of the reaches that were there on MSNBC were simply that, reaches, right? One thing that Jay said that I thought was kind of odd, he said, you know how hard it is to rap for 4 minutes and everything you say be true? I'm like, does that mean that other rappers ain't saying true stuff?
Hold on. What kind of goalpost move is that? It's like, do you know how hard it is to rap for 4 minutes and tell the truth? It's like, well, seeing how people have been rapping on record for like the last, 40 years, I'm pretty certain it's happened before.
So I guess he feels like if you rap for a certain length, the niggas just start making shit up, huh?
What does that mean? Is Kendrick lying on Duckworth? Like, this is what I'm saying. You see how long is Duckworth?
I don't know. It's probably like 5 minutes.
I want to know because it's like this is what I'm talking about. It's like you see how when Jay does something, it's like oh no, nobody's ever done that.
And
It's
no,
like I'm pretty.
the wild part about it, not to cut you off, Coop, is when he says stuff like that, everybody just sits there and checks it. No one challenges anything. Because the first thing I would have said was like, so other rappers ain't telling the truth? What's
Yeah, I mean, Mike Duckworth is literally Kendrick going on like a 3.5 minute rant. Nobody says anything about it ever. It's like it's a brilliant song. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
Now,
you know
what would
how
you take?
hard it was for
Duckworth?
him to
What would
tell
you
the
take?
truth?
Duckworth for 4 minutes or this for 4 minutes?
Well, you know how hard it was for him to tell the truth. Reggie says Diddy sent Dylon to pay the man, to pay that man a visit. Excuse me.
With some cheesecake.
With some cheesecake, yeah. Cold
Yeah.
words. Jay Short with the super chat says, I don't think engineers know how to amplify these rappers' voices now. Engineers overall in hip hop have suffered. Yeah, I just think the rappers just don't have the voices anymore. And you know what?
Yeah,
I gotta be fair, Coop. I give Kanye West a lot of credit for changing things in the game. He
Get out my
changed
head.
that too.
He's part of the problem.
Yeah.
With this.
Yeah.
So part of where he changed the game and let every man get in is that he let every man get in.
Who doesn't have
and
a
so
voice.
What you'll find is that since he's gotten in the door, well, guys vocally aren't as strong.
You're right.
Because even with Common's got a great fucking rap voice.
He does.
He does. Twista's got a great rap voice.
People say I used to sound like Common and Ludacris or whatever, voice-wise. But, you know.
People be saying you sound like Common, Luda, André. Niggas can't make up their mind who you sound.
No, just saying vocally. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
I think delivery-wise, when I hear you vocally and delivery-wise, it meshes up to Andre the most. When I hear you, like when you're, I can hear somebody hears you talk how they would feel like you sound like Common, but when you rap, because of your cadence, it's more Andre 3000. But that's also Atlanta too.
Yeah, that's an influence though. That's a direct influence, really. Right. Mel 531 says, just tune in. But MC Ren has a great rap voice also. Yeah, he does.
You had to have a great rap voice. That's why
everybody
it's like all these guys that
we're
naming that rap before 1993, essentially. It's like, all their rap voices are excellent. And then you get like 93 to like 2000. And it's like, well, most of those voices, like, how about this? How you feel about Redman's voice? I think Redman was the first great rapper I heard who didn't have what I call an all-time great voice. He's the first all-time great MC without an all-time great voice to me.
I think Redman had a great voice in that period, especially on.
You see what I'm saying? It was different, but would you say his voice is all-time great in relationship to think about this? Because he's coming along right after Chuck D, Ice Cube, Slick Rick, LL, King,
Leroy Green,
KRS.
Yeah,
is his voice in that category?
Leroy Green says, but Michael Eric Dyson would say different. Michael Eric Dyson would tell you that Beyonce is greater than Michael Jackson. I don't want to hear anything that Michael Eric Dyson has to say in regard to
Michael Eric Dyson has been more consumed with fame and using literary devices than connecting to the people. And until he recalibrates those things, I really am not that interested.
Well, I could see him actually selling a book on this Jay-Z verse. I could see Michael Eric Dyson.
I'm pretty certain he's writing the foreword.
He's probably writing the book right now.
As we
Hov
speak.
did the book by Michael Eric Dyson.
A 70-page dissertation on why Jay-Z commands the authority of the white establishment in America to pay attention and notice and recognize the greatness of the black man within the entendres of his rhyme schemes.
Kong King with the super chat says, Kendrick also lying for 7 minutes on Sing About
Next thing you know, Mike, rappers are going to be pulling up and acting like Shakespeare wrote everything. Hold up, already happened.